G'day YouTube, Warbles on a lot here. We're going to have a go at first dog on the moon.
Welcome to First Dog on the Moon's Guide to Modern Living. I'm Walkley Award-winning cartoonist First Dog on the Moon, coming to you live from an undisclosed location as I'm in hiding from Field Marshal Abbott and his Senate Estimates death squad. They'll never take me alive. It's been a whole week of Abbott-A-Geddon and the nation is reeling under an onslaught of, well, not much. Is this the new politics, living under a Boer democracy? From the get-go, Tony's clearly stated that 1, he's going to be methodical, and 2, he has a mandate to do pretty much whatever he wants. It looks like he's going to do us all slowly. Or is he? Does he really have the giant, bulging mandate he claims? Perhaps we should ask the good people from the other place, the Unrepresentative Swillians of the Senate, Australia's House of Review. We have a whole trough-load of new senators who may or may not be taking office sometime in 2014. We'll know as soon as the AEC can get the counting finished, but at the moment they're pretty busy with the seat of Indi. Anyway, there'll be 7 or 8 or 9 new senators coming into the upper house, and due to various idiosyncrasies built into our voting system, they may or may not be people you may or may not have ever heard of. You've never heard of any of them. So let's meet them. First up for the nice little Earner United Party is Craig Sisyphus, a former buttockball international. He played front noodle for the Golden Wattles in the 90s and once ate a whole pug live for a bet. He doesn't believe in climate change or fairies getting married. Next up is Bernadette Flemington from Tassie. She's a leggy blonde mother of 7 and a former digger, a small businesswoman currently running the Gay Bay Marie Carvery at the Burnie RSL. Also a kindergarten teacher and private investigator, she could kill you with her bare hands and probably will. The newest senator from the Family Fist Party is Bert Frack. Their motto is, spare the rod and spoil the child, a good flogging never hurt anyone. Policies include capital punishment for abortionists and people who wear burqas. It's funny because it's true. Then it's Derek Enormous Batone of the Liberal Democratic Liberal Party. They want to ban everything that doesn't erode our freedoms and liberties and access to as much government cash as we can get our hands on. Oh, did I say that out loud? One of the most controversial newcomers to the Senate is Captain Death Pants of the Democratic Liberal Democrats. Their platform is yes to guns and freedom and accidentally expectorating on people with excitement, but no to climate change, fluoride, chemtrails, the Illuminati, and halal Vegemite wake-up sheeple. They do seem a little off-piste, but they were right about the NSA spying on everyone, weren't they? And isn't that scary? Representing Victoria will be Boris Mandible of the Marsupial Feces Enthusiast Party, and he just wants to drive his truck out into the bush and set fire to some stuff, jack his mates and chuck wallaby bum raisins at the missus for a bit of a laugh. Also, a bicycle buyback program where cyclists can turn in their treadlies for cash. These things are a menace. We have to get them off decent Aussie roads. It looks like the next few years are going to be a phantasmagoria of pork-filled patronage and nepotistic wrangling for Tony and all his new best friends in the Senate. Prime Minister Abbott. This is what happens when you appeal to the dark, broken heart of disenfranchised white Australia. Now it's time to pay the piper, or at least Clive Palmer. And no doubt, democracy will be the winner. This has been First Dog on the Moon's Guide to Modern Living, proudly brought to you by the First Dog on the Moon Institute.
Yeah, well, life on the island incontinent of Abbottania. When we went to vote for Tony, there were no fires out of control in New South Wales. Within 5 days there were 70 fires and 31 of them were out of control. Queensland was in the grip of a heat wave in spring. And from where I sit, I figure the only rational response is to consider that every anomalous extreme weather event, anything that's completely beyond recorded normality in terms of micrometeorology, whether it's a heat wave or a drought or a really big thunderstorm dump, hail, strong winds, flooding, pretty much anything like that, we're going to have to consider that as being the doings of Tony Abbott and Warren Truss and Barney Baby Joyce and all the people who've spent the last 10 years professionally, as a career move, denying climate science and minimising the consequences of continuing to emit carbon dioxide to the atmosphere. Australia's pumping out 4 or 5% of the world's carbon dioxide emissions because we export so much coal and we export so much gas. And in Queensland, Campbell Newman wants to open up the Galilee Basin so that he can double Queensland's exports and sell it all to India. And their game plan is literally to trash the environment as fast as they can in a desperate effort to keep their economy alive so they can buy the missus a fur coat and get a fuck next Friday night. I don't know what their long-term end goal is, but in the short term they are utterly prepared to sacrifice the environment to any prospect of making a profit. And as I've mentioned on previous movies, 100 years ago your average capitalist was unwilling to invest £1 unless they could get £10 return by the end of the year plus their original pound. 1,000%. These days, people are unwilling to buy shares in any company because you can at least get 3% if you leave it in the bank, whereas the share price will tank and you will lose your investment and it won't pay any dividend while you're holding it, and you've got to pay brokerage fees on the bloody thing anyway. My view is that a share is a moral and ethical tragedy. It's a share in the profits with no responsibility for the damage done. It's an artificial construct invented for the convenience of the usurers. And let's face it, we've had at least 5,000 years of major religions teaching and preaching against usury. I think maybe, perhaps, possibly, the reason all the major God theories said that their God theory was against usury is because they could do the extrapolation and see that in the long run, deficit-financed broadacre agriculture would destroy the biosphere and leave you with a huge population that has no means of sustaining itself, and therefore you're going to wind up having a cull. Enormously prescient for the God theories 5,000 or 8,000 years ago to have figured that out, but it appears the experiment is in progress. And here in Australia, let's face it, well, maybe 6 or 7% of the people voted for the Greens, nationally. Here in New England it was 4.3%. Flaming motivational speaker got 6.7%, 7.6%. 1.6 times the Greens vote. It's really sad, really, really sad. "93% of the Australian population voted to continue business as usual, try and grow the economy, ignore what it's doing to the atmosphere and atmospheric chemistry and thermodynamics and micrometeorology. They don't care. And I think they're going to wind up like the Americans in Colorado who didn't care to do anything about their environmental impact. And they're being washed down the river. They've got no power, they've got no phone, they've got no road access in Boulder, Colorado. If we're talking in terms of a conscious universe, then Lovelock was right, you know. The Earth is a conscious superorganism, and Gaia is pissed off with industrial, deficit-financed agricultural society. So, I'm really glad I headed for the hills 25 years ago. Hopefully I won't get wiped out and micrometeorological events destroy the infrastructure of the society that's pissed it off. I just hope that Gaia's Revenge uses a sniper's rifle rather than a shotgun, because if it's a shotgun, I'm fucked. Just like we all are. Warble's on a lot to YouTube. A report from Abbottania at the end of the first week. Ciao.